them up at the end of the month, and when I get the bill, I have to pay it in full. And if I don't, I have to pay 20% more. And I explained it to him, you know, if I bought something for $100 and I don't pay it, well, guess how much I have to pay? $120. Do you think that's a good idea? Well, of course, he said no. So he's understanding that this is not just a thing that you swipe. And so depending on the kid as well, I mean, you can start at 5 years old, and the important thing is to give them their own money so that they can make decisions, so they feel responsible for what this thing does. So you can take them to the store, they see a toy that costs $40, and they think, oh, wait a minute, I need like to save for 6 months to get this toy. So they have an idea of how much they need to save, and you can also teach them to set goals, whether that, you know, getting that toy or having an experience or going to the movies. So setting small goals for their age, obviously. But it's important to give them the money so that they learn how to make decisions, spending decisions, saving decisions, giving, charity, right?
And I think it's a good way for them to be able to understand how they can manage their own money. It's kind of giving them that independence to say, you know what, this is my money, and I can potentially use it in whatever way I want. So they're going to create positive and good habits as a result of the things that you're teaching them. Now, these are kids, so they're malleable and they're impressionable and they're ready and eager to learn. But let's talk about adults. You know, we're talking about money, and money in relationships are one of the, you know, the biggest topics of conversation. It could be the topics of arguments. It could be the topics of disagreements between couples. What should couples be telling themselves about money, and how should they go about talking about their finances?
Well, one of the first things that I do when I work with couples is to dig back into their childhood. I really want the couple to understand where the other person comes from, what they lived with money, how they lived money in throughout their life, what kind of experiences they had. Sometimes they might be traumatic experiences that they never discussed, they never talked about. So when I do this exercise called money biography, where, let's say, you know, you tell your whole life story to your partner from a money perspective. And, you know, I tell my partner my life story with money. And we literally discover each other from a money perspective, because I'm sure even if people have been married for 20 years, they never discuss money to this depth. So understanding really where the other person comes from is the first step to starting to better communicate around money. And then there's also communication frameworks that I give them, is how to talk about money in a very neutral way, in a way that you feel that, you know, you understand why this created an issue, why it's not getting your partner certain need fulfilled, and it's understanding their, you know, their vulnerabilities, their weaknesses, what triggers them and why it triggers them.
And I think what's important in what you're doing is, because if you understand what your husband or wife's trigger is, then you're better able and better proactively prepared to be able to help them whenever they get into that situation when you know you can kind of act as their accountability coach and say, hey, remember, we had this discussion and you told me that this was a point. You know, whenever you get to this point in your career or you get to this point of your day, you know, you start thinking about spending or start thinking about shopping, and that's an emotional buy and not, you know, a strategic buy. So I think that that's really important, that couples need to get to the root of what their money challenges are and work together to kind of, as a team, to create that money foundation that I think families need, and that foundation, that solid foundation, is what we're going to teach our kids. And those kids are then going to be able to understand what's important and what's not important. And, you know, that instant gratification, they'll be able to understand now. They'll have the recourse, and they'll have the strength to be able to say no to their friends or no to, you know, people around them that want to get them to buy into something or buy into a product. So I think that's really, really good advice, getting to the root of what our money challenges are, and really creating a strategic plan to be able to put something, you know, in place. Now, Lama, tell people how they can get in contact with you, how they can find out more about the things that you're doing, and where they can go to figure that out.
Well, the first place would be my website, of course. So it's maxworth.ca. And what I encourage people to do is to download my free ebook. So it's a guide where it's called the 7 Techniques to for your financial well-being. So
you
it's
guys
really a good
that
start.
7 techniques.
So it's a good place to start.
Yes.
And from there, you can get in touch with me. And I usually offer a half an hour free consultation for any new client. So we can see if we're a good match. We can work together and we take it from there.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lama.
Thank you.
And have yourself a good day.
Thank you very much.
The 2 takeaways that I'm taking from my interview with Lama today is, 1, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about your finances, about your budget, and the life you want to live. The second takeaway is that living a debt-free life is possible with a structure and plan in place to keep you on track. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I also want to thank my guest Lama today for giving her money advice. Are you looking to create a career, business, and life on your own terms? Are you looking to leverage your strengths so that you can transform your life? Visit RashidaGeddes.com to figure out how I can help you and your business. Empower, mentor, lead, and never stop learning. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce a psalmist, a musician, a worshiper, a recording artist, and a Stellar Award winner, Mr. Jabari Johnson. Brother, thank you for a few minutes of your time. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Yo, thanks for having me, man.
And of course, congratulations on the new release of really your debut project. We're going to get into it in a minute. But before we do, let's begin by breaking down a few walls and finding out a little about the man behind the music, a little about the singer behind the songwriter. So just a few fun facts that I think a lot of people would love to know about Jabari. For instance, with a name like Jabari Johnson, what were some of the nicknames that you grew up with, whether through family, high school, or among musicians? Was it Jab Jab, JJ, or was it something else?
Well, the name Jabari means brave, but I haven't been that much of a brave person all my life. But it was JJ. My mom called me, Bari. A lot of women call me Bari. You know what I'm saying? I hate for men to be like, "What up, Bari?" I'd be like, don't do that. No, don't call me that. But I Jabby J, all kinds of stuff. I'm just like, everybody come up with something. And the show Girlfriends, it was one of them had a kid named Jabari, and they used to call him Jabberwocky or Jabonsky and all kinds of stuff like this. So I was just like, it was all kind of names, man.
All right. Now you're a proficient. You're a proficient musician, so with a real skill set among the string instruments. So I'm curious, what is your favorite instrument? Is it the electric guitar, the acoustic guitar, or is it the banjo?
It's definitely the electric guitar.
Okay.
But I'm very fond of the banjo. I don't have a banjo, never played a banjo a day in my life, but I love the sound of it. That's why on this record, I got like a couple of songs with banjo and mandolin and stuff on it. So, I've become very fond of the instrument.
We're going to have to talk about that banjo because that's a departure, especially in gospel music. But because you are from the South and your music tends to lend itself to a variety of genres, were you a fan of R&B, inspirational gospel, or was it even country?
I grew up listening to nothing but gospel, like John P.
Okay.
Key, Willie Neal, Lee Williams, all that, Shirley Caesar, Carthage Pierce, and all them. So, but when I got older, and I think it was like high school, um, I was under this band director named Jose Antonio Diaz,
Okay.
and he really got my mom on track to letting us listen to different genres of music, so we could, just become better at it. He didn't want us to be like just he didn't want us to be right there with just gospel. I was just like, so we ended up playing in a salsa band. We ended up playing R&B. There's clips of me singing "You Rock My World" by Michael Jackson on YouTube that I would never let anybody see. Matter of fact, I need to get somebody to take it down. But yeah, but I'm a big fan of like R&B. I used to sing R&B like when I got out of my mama house, of course. But I used to sing R&B. My favorite song is "Yearning" by the Gap Band. One of my favorite R&B singers
Ah,
is Charlie Wilson,
okay.
and Charlie still sounds the same today that he sounded probably 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
he's one of my favorites. And who else? We go to country music. Chris Stapleton, that's one of my favorites.
Uh,
Another guy is John. He's not country, but John Mayer. He can do it all. So, I like it all.
Nice, very nice. Now, coming from Texas, I'm really curious to know, in terms of folks who visit, if you're going to church, sightseeing, or even to a restaurant, because you grew up in Houston, but you have ties now to Dallas, Fort Worth. But which city do you think, if there's one city they go to in Texas, they need to be in? Is it Dallas, Fort Worth? Is it Houston? Or is it even Austin?
Dallas is a great place to live. It's real peaceful. It's real, it's not as fast as Houston, but if I'm coming to Texas, I'm going to Houston. I'm going to Houston hands down. We
Okay.
got the best food in the state. I almost say in the country, in the world. We got the best food. We got the turkey leg hut. That's all I need to say right there. We got the turkey leg hut. It's a big old turkey leg stuffed with dirty rice. And you can put lemon pepper or Alfredo, or they got the lobster mac and cheese that they put on top of it. Turkey leg hut is where it's at. So if I'm coming to Texas, you gotta go to Houston. We got the best food. We got Lotus, we got Ray's barbecue. Man, I'm telling you, man, if you want some good food, you gotta come to Houston. Dallas food is you know, it's all right. You might find a good spot here and there, but Houston is where it's at.
Okay. Now, another thing that I'm really curious about, because as a Texan, everybody is faithful to football. Do you ride with football, or can you say that you love basketball as well?
I'm definitely a fan of football. Definitely. I was a fan of the Houston Texans for a while until that whole situation went down with Watson, and they traded the best receiver that was in the league right then. I can't say in the league right now because we all know Jamar Chase is the greatest receiver in the league right now. But and he's in the Super Bowl. So yeah. But we had DeAndre Hopkins, we had JJ Watt, and we had Watson at the QB position. So
Yes.
once all that went down, they traded them. I was like, nah, I'm good. So right now, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I'm kind of upset that we got beat by the Bengals. We didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but we made it the last 2 years, so we good. But I will say I do love basketball more than football. I'm a
Oh,
big fan of the Golden State Warriors. I was upset when Toronto beat us, and if we're gonna keep it 100, if we're gonna keep it real, we all know that if Klay Thompson hadn't got hurt, it would have been over for Toronto. It would have been over in Game 6. It would have been a wrap. But we'd have 4 rings. You know what I'm saying? But big fan of the Golden State Warriors. Big fan of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond. Kevin Durant has been my favorite basketball player since I was in high school when he was at University of Texas. So the fact that he came to my favorite basketball team and won 2 championships and Finals MVPs, it was amazing. Even though he out there in Brooklyn right now, things ain't looking too good for him. But it is what it is.
all right. Now, a question, because you're part of the today's generation, a millennial or Generation Y, Generation Z, I'm not sure, but I'm curious to know in terms of social media, because you're very familiar with social media, what's your favorite social media? Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Where do you like to scroll and post?
Most of my time is spent on Instagram. TikTok is very funny. I only get on Facebook because my mom is on Facebook. But Instagram is definitely my favorite when it comes to social media. I'm
Okay.
hardly ever on Twitter. I don't have hardly any followers. I don't even think I have 2,000 followers on Twitter. So, you know.
All right, so now I want to jump into the man behind the music and speak as we head into this album of yours. You spent, it seems, almost your entire life in Texas, and I'm curious to know, how has that shaped you both as a minister of music and as an artist, growing up in Houston, Texas, and now residing in Dallas, Fort Worth?
You got to think about it. We got a lot of great singers and great musicians that come out of Houston. So I actually went to church with I grew up in the same church that Rhonda McLemore grew up in, and that Sean. So
Yes.
so Sean McLemore and all them used to always be over there, and we had phenomenal musicians like Barry Jackson that taught me how to play guitar, and this guy named Shannon Jackson. We always had like great people coming through the church to do different things. It was like a concert or choir anniversary or something like that. So, you know, that helped shape me into who I am today. And like I said, in Houston, we just got a lot of great singers and great ministers. So you got to think about it, Kim Burrell, we got James Fortune, who else? Yolanda Adams. The list goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just being around that, you know, you kind of don't have a choice but to either do it or don't do it. So I chose to do it and do it at the highest level that I could do it.
Well, you are doing great things now, particularly as a musician at Potter's House with Bishop T.D. Jakes. And I'm just curious, how did that relationship happen? Going, establishing yourself in Houston, Texas, and then finding yourself in the pit among some of the most talented musicians on the planet as a minister of music with Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Relationship, man. Networking. This guy named Ace of War. I met him at the AIM convention years ago, and he was at the Potter's House, and then I hit him up and asked him when I came out to Dallas for my uncle's concert. I ended up playing for that, and I was just gonna be out there for the weekend. I didn't have a church job at the time, so I was like, "Yo, can you see if they need a guitar player at the Potter's House?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he called me back and let me know. He was like, "Yo, they say you can come fill in." So I came and filled in, and they kept calling me every week. I was driving back and forth from Houston to Dallas to, you know, be there for the service, and then they offered me the job. And the crazy part is, when they offered me the job, I let that email sit in my inbox for probably 2 weeks, probably two, three, probably a month. And then they hit me and was like, "Yo, what are you gonna do? Like, do you want to move here? Do you want to play here, or what?" And you know, God just gave me the okay. And once my mom was like, "Go," my mom, she didn't want. I'm the baby of the family. She didn't want to let her baby go. So she was like, "Boy, you better go." I was like, "All right, cool." Packed my stuff up and went to Dallas, and the rest is history, man. It's just been an amazing experience being there and listening. It's fun playing. You know, you get to play with all these great musicians and great singers and things like that. But we're sitting on the best communicator that this world pretty much has ever seen, which is Bishop T.D. Jakes. You know, he's like America's bishop. So it's like being able to sit there and learn from him, learn how to be a better man, learn how to be better in business and all that stuff like that, man. It's amazing. You know, I actually sat up on a Zoom with him one day, and we were just talking for like an hour and a half, and he was just giving me just wisdom, just pouring out wisdom. So, you know, it's just great to have a spiritual father like that.
So speaking on the fact that you have had the opportunity to get wisdom from Bishop T.D. Jakes, how has the church experienced watching some of the greatest psalmists, the greatest musicians minister at the Potter's House? receiving instruction and wisdom from a man like Bishop T.D. Jakes, how has that helped shaped and formed your ministry and your artistry today?
It kept me from getting out there too early and making crazy mistakes or embarrassing myself. I think one of the greatest things you could do for somebody that really wants to do ministry at, at this level is tell them you're not ready, you know. Um, and that's what they told me, you know. It was I was sitting up under Miranda Curtis at one point, and I was just like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I just got so much in me that I want to get out. And she was just like, yeah, you do, and you're great at what you do, but you're not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? So, and I had to just learn from that. I had to take that in. It was a hard pill to swallow because in my mind, I'm like, at that time, I'm like, I'm 25. I'm ready to get out here. I'm ready to do what God has put in. I'm ready to give people what God has given me. And that was just one of the things that her and Bishop just told me. Just take your time, you know, take your time. Don't rush it because when it comes, it's gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like I said, that's one of the greatest things that they did for me. It was just, you know, just kept me there and taught me a lot of things because I mean, honestly, looking back on it, I really wasn't ready. So yeah.
Wow. So today, when you think of yourself doing all these things, playing, recording, singing, do you see yourself as an artist with the skill set to be a musician, or do you see yourself as a musician who's spreading his wings and becoming an artist?
Definitely as an artist that just so happens to play the guitar, even though I started playing guitar first. If I had to choose between the two, I would definitely choose being an artist over being a musician. Um, I just enjoy it more. It's just, you know, getting up there and just being able, not God uses me when I play guitar too, you know what I'm saying? But just getting up there and just being able to just be free and let go and all that stuff like that. It's great. It's an amazing experience. So if I had to choose between the two, I'm definitely choosing the artist over
Wow,
anything.
that catches me a little by surprise because, you know, growing up and probably developing your reputation as a musician, even serving under the direction of Bishop T.D. Jakes and Potter's House, you've established yourself as this remarkable musician. But still, at the same time, now here you are recording with Entertainment One, aka MRK. Now, as a recording artist, that's stepping into, at least from the spectator's point of view, into some new territory, some new terrain. But I guess you've always seen yourself as an established artist.
Yeah, for sure. I've always wanted to do what I'm doing now. At one point, I told the label, I was like, "Yo, I don't want to play for anybody else. I'm tired of playing for people. I want to do my own thing." And they told me, it was like, "Yo, you got to keep playing and keep building those relationships. So when you get ready to get out there and do your own thing, you will have those people to, you know, to help you with what you're trying to do." So, you know, that was some great advice that they gave me. I kept on playing, ended up playing for like Ty Tribbett and Ricky Dillard and stuff like that. So those relationships are, you know, relationships that'll be there for a long time. So, you know,
Absolutely. You know,
yeah,
one thing that really sticks out to me in all of this is I think to be a successful artist, you have to have a distinctive sound, a
yeah,
distinctive quality that really people can gravitate towards. And there's two things that stick out about you, of course. One is that banjo that really pops like the color pink. And I'm wondering, it was that intentional, and how did it was the label very supportive of you introducing, because, you know, in gospel music, we don't hear no banjo.
uh, they were, you know, they just wanted to see where it was gonna go, you know, because I don't think they ever had anybody that was like me. You know, I'm on the edge. You know, I like to try things that no one has ever tried. You know, we've had some banjo stuff. We've had some. I wouldn't say banjo. We've had some country music stuff happen in gospel. You know, Tasha Cobbs is. You
Okay,
know, she
yes.
did it on her last record. So, you know, but I'm a country boy. I'm a country boy. You know, even though I'm from Houston, my parents are from the country, and I'm like, I go deer hunting with my dad. We sit out on the and what they call the field or whatever, and we just be playing music and stuff like that. Like that's just me. And I wanted to give people me on this record. And there was a time when I was just like, I wanted to change up my record so it could sound like everything else that was out. So I was just like, man, this is what's hot. This is what's popping right now. I need to do this. And God just told me, don't touch it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I really wanted to go get me a, 40-piece choir and have them gather around the piano and we shoot video and all this stuff to one touch. God was like, that ain't what I got for you. This is what I want you to do. This is what I got for you. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to be like everybody else. And he told me don't touch it. And I turned the record into the label and it was just like, all right, cool, we done. Let's go ahead and put this project out. Because the project was supposed to come out last year in February.
Okay.
But I was the holdup and I just kept on changing stuff. And I was just like, I'm not ready for it to come out. It feels incomplete. I was on my Kanye, you know what I'm saying? Tell you one release date and then the record come out 6 months later, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, they were very supportive of it when it came time for it to come out. Especially when it came out, and then I wasn't even paying attention to like the charts and stuff. It was like, your record is number 4. I was like, oh, I didn't even know because I honestly didn't care. I put this record out because I wanted people to, get a glimpse of my life and see who Jabari really is.
Right.
And I was just like, I put a post up yesterday that said, what I wanted for this record, my goal that I set for this record, I've already achieved it in a week. In a week, just people. I just wanted people to be blessed from the record. That's it. I don't care about the awards. I don't care about being number 1. None of that stuff like that. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, we're gonna move on to the next record and just do something else greater.
What I'm really happy to see now in gospel music is the return of the raspy male voice. I'm hearing it from Chandler Moore, Dante Bowe, Todd Galbraith, and Jabari Johnson joining the crew.
Yeah.
I'm curious, who are some of the inspirational voices that you like, that perhaps you find inspiration from, and that you maybe borrow some inspiration from?
See, Ty Galbraith for sure, John P. Key, Chandler for sure, Zacardi Cortez, who else? Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp, all the raspy guys, And I grew up singing quartet, so I can't leave out like Tim Rogers and Harvey Watkins. So, yeah.
Quartet, really?
Yeah. I had a quartet group for like 11 years.
Wow.
Before I went solo and started doing my own thing. It was like from the age of 7 all the way up to, I could be wrong, probably 18 or 19, something like that.
Oh man, then you are really country then. That's real country.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're in a time, in a period where we've had to deal with the adversity of this pandemic. It's been economically hitting, psychologically, socially. And I'm just curious, because you mentioned that your album was supposed to come out in 2021, and we're hoping, we're praying that this 2-year vacuum is coming towards a close. But I'm just wondering, how did you navigate through it? How did you cope through it as a Black male in the South, as a recording artist, as a musician for a church, where all of these things were impacted during the pandemic?
Thank God my bishop is he's always prepared, even for things that you wouldn't normally be prepared for, like a pandemic. No one was prepared for that, but he put a plan together, and he had 300 employees, and not one of us were laid off, not one.
Wow!
We kept working, and we kept putting out content and just making things happen, but coping with everything that happened during the pandemic, you gotta realize we had a George Floyd situation during the pandemic. We had a lot of stuff. We ended up having to go march and stuff like that, and be out there with masks on and all that stuff like that. But it wasn't easy, man. Honestly, it wasn't easy. I dealt with depression during the pandemic to the point where I had to take 3 months off and go to like a mental health camp or whatever, where they just teach you how to deal with stuff. So this was over the weekend, just take some time for myself. And a lot of people tried to stop me from doing it. And I was just like, no, I'm going to get healing for myself. I don't care about this music. I don't care about this guitar, none of that stuff like that. It'll be here when I get back, because I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? But if I don't go, then, it was a point where I had to get all my guns and take them to my best friend's crib, because I was just like, I'm dealing with some stuff. I'm dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts, and I'm not going out like that. I'm not going out like that. So I took it over to her crib, and I went and I dealt with things that I needed to deal with. And, I'm here today to tell that story, man. Like I said, it wasn't easy, but God brought me through it. So, yeah.
Wow. So you good now? Everything good?
I'm better than good, man. Listen, I'm excellent. Oh yeah. And that's crazy though. That's crazy that you asked that, because a lot of people, you gotta realize we done lost a lot of people over the last few weeks to suicide. And you would think that a person that's up here having a conversation like this would be good. You know what I'm saying? But they're really not. So when I say if I'm not good and somebody asks me, I straight up tell them, no, I'm not. I'm not good. I don't know a lot of people about that. But man, I feel like I'm in one of the greatest seasons of my life, man. God is blessing me. And everything ain't perfect. Everything is never gonna be perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I'm blessed, and I have great friends and great family to support me, and I got peace of mind, man. That's more important than anything you can have in this world. More than money. Money can't buy you peace. Money can't buy you peace. I done had a lot of money, and I was still depressed and still going under. Money will not buy you peace, man. So I'm glad that you asked me that, but I am well. I am great.
Good. Jabari, I'm going to end with one final question, and that's taking it back to the album. This is coming from your heart. It's your experience and your artistry. If there's something that you hope people can leave with after hearing the album, what is that message? What is that impression? What is that sentiment that you want to leave on the hearts of those who experience One Touch?
That no matter what you're going through, man, at the end, it's always victory, man. It's one of the songs on the record, is victory song. It says, because I know who's fighting for me is always going to end in victory. That's the message of the record. Victory. Fixed fight is victory. One touch, the woman with the issue of blood, she didn't let anything or anyone stop her from getting to Jesus. She didn't let her friends, her family, the people that were standing around her, because you got to think about it, at that time, her condition was considered just that no one wanted to touch her, no one wanted to be around her. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she pressed through the crowd and got to Jesus and touched the hem of his garment is just a message within itself. Don't let nothing stop you from getting to Jesus. Not your friends, family, your condition, none of that. Make your way to Jesus, and at the end of it, you're going to get healed, delivered, set free, and you're going to come out victorious, man. This record is all about the end goal, which is victory, man.
Jabari, man, it's been such a delight and a pleasure to spend a few minutes with you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce an emerging artist from Ghana who is absolutely brilliant when it comes to both ministry and music. He's making waves across the continent, through Europe, and now into North America. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. Joe Meadow. Joe, thank you for a few minutes of your time. What I would love to start with is talking about you through some fun facts. So I'm going to ask you some questions impromptu, and I'm going to ask you to be as candid and as transparent as you can be. Is that all right?
Okay, that works for me.
All right. So I'm curious, as an artist from the continent, I'm curious to know, who is your favorite African American gospel artist?
That's a wild one. Wow, that's a difficult one though, but I think I would say Israel.
Israel Houghton.
Yes, yes.
Okay, interesting. Oh,
I mean, since you're using favorite, because I have a lot of favorites, so that makes it difficult. But I guess the first name that comes into mind, I have favorites for different reasons.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yes. But I guess coming up as an artist, he had an embodiment of how he's able to fuse sounds, and it was one of the things that I really loved, and yeah.
Okay. Okay. Another African nation outside of Ghana you would consider moving to if you had the opportunity?
South Africa.
Ah, and why South Africa? I'm curious, why South Africa?
I guess I've had to do ministry there a few times, and it settles naturally for me. I normally don't have to do much to be able to connect, and so it makes it easy. But I think maybe South Africa, or probably maybe Kenya. I guess I'm able to say the places I've been. Nigeria too. I can live in Nigeria too, So it becomes a lot. But I'll say South Africa first.
Now, I haven't been to Ghana as yet. That is a lifelong journey that I plan. But
you need to come.
It's going to happen. But I'm curious, could you share with our audience something unique about Ghana that distinguishes it from any other nation in Africa?
I would say Ghana is a beautiful place, first of all. It has beautiful people. Ghanaians are friendly. Ghanaians are open to people, and they receive people with all the love they can. We have good food. Like if you love food,
yes,
you love Ghana, because the variety is just something else. We have great music, and Ghana is a peaceful nation as well. It's a calm nation. It's one place you will be and will not be worried about what happens to you or what, So that's Ghana. We're amazing people.
Okay. Now, we're all prayerfully coming out of the pandemic, but I'm curious, as an artist, as a minister, and as a man, are there any valuable lessons learned over the course of the pandemic, both professionally, personally, and even spiritually?
Yes, I'll say that. First of all, I'll say the pandemic sort of like opened our eyes to a lot of things, and things that we thought were important that were really not important. We place so much value on a lot of things, trying to keep stuff, save stuff. Not that it's not good, but there were so many other things that we tried to hold on to, that the pandemic taught us that they were not really, we can live without them. We thought we could not live without them, but we realized we could. Also, it taught us how precious life is, and how to value life. Because a lot of times we sort of like go around the day thinking we own our own lives.
Yes.
But where there's a sickness and there's no cure, and you don't have a cure yet, and you don't know how to get better, or don't know how things will get, gives you the value for each day that you live. And also it gave us the opportunity to even draw closer to God, because our realization of the fact that we did not have the authority or the power to make certain things happen made us rely more on God than we've ever done, and it brought to life a lot of the things that we profess sometimes with our mouths that really do not believe in our hearts. It is easy to tell people, oh, God is a provider in the midst of abundance. when everything is working and things feel like everything is around you, you have everything you need, and you're saying that God provides, it's easy. But when there's scarcity and you still have to believe in your heart that God provides, that's where the word most of the time comes to life. And so during that time, it personally helped me even understand it more, because I saw God coming through for me than like when everyone was complaining, and how he says that when others say there's a casting down, you say there's a lifting up. I felt the lifting of God in my life. I felt the provision of God in my life, and it drew me closer to God. So the whole pandemic taught me a lot. And I would say that I came out a better person.
Well, we're going to touch on the pandemic in a few minutes, but I want to touch on a lighter note, and that's the fact I must start by congratulating you at the fact that you got married during the pandemic, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
My question is this, because I do personally have a friend from located here in North America, but she's of Ghanaian descent, and she went back to Ghana to get married to her Ghanaian husband. And what I discovered is that there's really two ceremonies. There's the traditional Ghanaian ceremony, and then there's the contemporary one. So tell me a little about the distinguishing variables between the Ghanaian ceremony and the North American ceremony.
So the Ghanaian ceremony, the first one is where the man who's found the wife, together with his family, goes to the woman's family.
Yes.
So you gather your family, and then you go to the woman's family, and then we have a tradition that we say you ask for the woman's hand in marriage.
Okay.
So it's more like an intention. And in our part of the world, the family has a say to you marrying a woman. If they say no, it would create a lot of problems for you two, unless maybe you want to cut off the family. So they now give you, so you go with gifts. So traditionally they have gifts and stuff that you go with. And so it's actually the second ceremony. So there's the first ceremony called the Noki. That's what this is. And then when they've given you the go ahead, and then you can then come with your family, your friends, to now officially have the ceremony that gives you the woman.
Okay.
But that's what the tradition recognizes. But there are flaws to that, because our tradition allows certain things. If I'm married traditionally, I can decide to marry another wife.
Oh, okay.
So because I'm not married by ordinance.
Okay.
It's not by ordinance. So the tradition permits polygamy. But then it goes on to the white wedding, which is a court, and then the state gets involved, where you're giving a marriage certificate and everything, and you sign. That's the second ceremony. That's the white wedding. That is not polygamous. So that's so the first one is normally the family. Then the next one is mostly the church or the state.
Okay.
So it's actually the states, but sometimes the church gets to officiate that ceremony.
So Joe, I'm really curious to know, because now the world, particularly here in North America, we're discovering the ministry of Joe Mettle. But I'm curious to know, what was life like before your ministry took off?
I as a person, come from a family of hardship. The family itself had a lot, but differences and other things. So life was a bit difficult growing up. Had to literally go with my mom, work and school and do stuff. And in Ghana, when we say work and school, it's slightly different, because I got exposed to America and North America, and how I'm in school and working. It's like you work in a cafe or something. No, in our part of the world, you carry stuff, you do like manual labor, literally. And that was what it was for me. And in fact, school in itself was hard for me to afford, especially my family and all that. So my whole life I've been working and saving and doing all those things. But at a young age, I discovered that the call of God was on my life. And so what I did was I just had to serve other people that had gone ahead of me. So that was what I did. There's my mentor of blessed memory was Daninete a renowned Ghanaian gospel artist who was a blessing to a lot of lives across the globe. And then I joined an all-male traditional group for a couple of years.
Yes.
And then after that, I went solo. So my transitions from these groups helped give me a little exposure in my country, because they recognize me with these artists and groups. And so I built up gradually from there till where we are today. So I think about 4 years ago, four years ago, I happened to have the privilege of emerging the overall artists of the country. And this includes both secular and gospel. And it also added up to, blow up things. But over the years, that's how it's been. And I've seen the hand of God, day in, day out over my life, yes.
That's amazing. I describe your sound as the sound of praise and worship. And I'm curious to know, do you perceive yourself as a praise and worship minister, or just a man who has songs on his heart that you're determined to deliver to the world?
Oh, I really see myself as a praise and worship leader. I'm actually a praise and worship leader. That's how it started for me. And so, I have sometimes there are places where you get to and people are like, it was supposed to just be a song. You were not supposed to take us to that place. I'm like, I thought that was what it was. One time I happened to be invited for a wedding, and the groom came back to me to say, "You messed up my wife. She was literally on the floor with her gown. You were not supposed to take it that deep." I said, "I don't know how to, just leave it." So I'm literally like a praise and worship minister. That's what my main calling is.
To God be the glory.
Hallelujah.
From what I'm perceiving today, is that the sound of world music, particularly music that comes from the continent, has grown in popularity internationally, whether we're talking about pop music from Burna Boy to Wizkid to inspirational artists, be they Sinach, Joyous Celebration, even Limo Blaze. What do you think are the reasons behind this growth and popularity of the sound of Africa?
I think the world is gradually now grasping the fact that there's a lot out in Africa. Because before, there was the perception that, oh, it's Africa, so nothing good can come from that side, until a few started getting exposed to it, and then they started sharing. And thank God for the internet. The internet is just making it just blast. So people now searching and finding and realizing the vast sort of like variety that is there in Africa. And Africa is just amazing. You think, oh, you've heard something from Ghana, then you heard Nigeria, then you hear South Africa, then, so that exposure to, and I'm going to say this, the grace and anointing over Africa is just as raw as it can be. It's not polished, it's not refined. It's just like, this is God's power, just take it. That's basically what Africa is about. And so the uniqueness of the sound of Africa, I think gradually the world is also accepting in addition to what they already have. And the point is, the Spirit of God is one anyway. It's the same anywhere. And that's what I believe that is happening right now.
I couldn't agree with you more. One thing that let me give you a North American perspective, because quite honestly, I don't have the sensitivity that perhaps an African would, but could you tell me and our audience the distinctive qualities, the distinctive nature of the sounds of African artists from Ghana, be they Joe Metal, Nathaniel Bassey, versus the sounds of South Africa, be they Nkozo or Joyous Celebration, or even the sound of Nigeria, be they Sinach, because they all have great sounds, but in the North American context, we see them as African artists. But from your vantage point, is there a distinction in sound and style?
Yes, I think there's a little distinction in sound. I guess the reason is culture. Our culture includes music as well. So there are a lot of like traditional instruments, traditional rhythms, language. You know, the language is vast. And so this is the thing. What most people don't realize is Africans have more syllables when it comes to language than in English.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that we have to translate, keep like digging. And one word, it will mean so many things, so many effects. We have sometimes reactions to words. We have like sounds to words. We have so many. So I guess it's the cultural influence and the more or less like the heritage stuff, things that you can't find in the Western world. In fact, there are things that till now, the people that got the opportunity to visit Africa now have been able to even sample them into the Western music. But then in Africa, it's still as authentic as it can be. Sometimes you have the real instrument, not even the sampled instrument. So I guess those concepts and everything that we've sort of like adopted into the music, because you would think in Ghana, for instance, we have over 50 something languages and tribes all over the place. Each one have their unique sound when it comes to music. Every single tribe has its sound and music, every one of them. So even being a Ghanaian, I still haven't been exposed to all of it yet. But then the moment I get exposed to some of them, I'm able to sometimes adopt a bit of their sound and infuse that into my music. And it gives also that unique sound that you won't find elsewhere. So I guess in addition to everything, that's what you use an example of like a Burna. Burna decided to still keep a root sound of back in the day of the Feles and all that, but then fuse it with the recent Afro beat sound and still, you know, create something unique. And so that's what really is happening with Africa. So there's so much variety Africans can just dig into and then apply.
Okay. You know, I'm of the opinion that North America, particularly an institution like the Stellar Gospel Music Awards, needs to grow and embrace the international sound by having a category that maybe has something like the best international gospel artist and album and song. And I think that the industry itself in North America needs to embrace the sound of Africa more, particularly on radio. But from your
I think so too.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. From your vantage point, do you see a slow and steady embracing, or is there still some prejudice towards the sound of Africa in North America?
Prejudice, that's a strong word, but I would say in a way, gradually. I think what it is they understand there's something amazing there. But I don't know what the fear is, whether it's a fear, because if we believe that it's all God's word, we shouldn't be worried about, like, how do I say this without sounding, I think sometimes the decision makers worry about how it would flood what they already have. Because the point is this, it's a lot.
Yes.
There are more artists in half of Africa than there is in the whole of America. Like even in certain countries, like if you put like maybe 5 or 6, just 6 countries of Africa together, the artists that would emerge from there alone are God knows how many. But I think, like you're saying, gradually they are embracing it. It will take a while, but I think over time, because there was a time where we were invited for Stellar Awards for the artists, with African artists with a unique sound. They had something. It wasn't for the category, but then they had something of that nature. I don't know what happened. They did it like for 1 year, and then they did not continue. So I'm hoping that over the years it would start happening. Now I know that there are African artists helping or writing for American artists. It started. I mean, Sinach was able to get Waymaker into the North America, and there are more coming. I know a few of my friends in Africa who are writing as we speak for some American artists. So gradually, when the songs start coming in that way, over time it would be not just the songs, but even the people will be accepted in the system as well. Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. The collaborations by Israel Houghton,
Yeah.
Todd Delaney, Micah Stampley, even on your most current album.
Yeah, I have
I
Jonathan
noticed you
Nelson
have Micah
on one of the,
yes,
yeah.
Michael Stuckley, yes. So that's
Yeah,
great to
Stackity,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
The pandemic has really accelerated this process of virtual ministry, using platforms and social media to connect with fans. Has that been a process that you've embraced, and how is that process coming along?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I guess during the pandemic, since we were not traveling or getting to do live ministrations, we just jumped back online so that the flow will not cut. And I was amazed at the response because by God's grace, like on Instagram, I have over 700,000 followers. And on Facebook, there's another almost 1 million and on and on. So I was like, why are we sitting? And I have like a whole live recording studio. So I was like, guys, let's just go. And then we started doing certain things. And I was amazed at the response and the testimonies and things that started coming in. So and that's one of the things I was saying. There were a lot of things that we discovered during the pandemic that we've been avoiding or ignoring. That also is a really powerful tool to be able to reach out to people that physically we will not be able to go to. And so I think for me, I've embraced it. This year, for instance, one of the things I told myself is I'm actually doing more content, reaching out more online interactions and events than I probably will be doing physically.
That is
so
awesome.
I've embraced it fully. Yeah.
And you've also have the added advantage of having an entire production studio in your home. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, is that something, a skill set that you've always had to be a producer, or is this something that you saw would be advantageous for you as an artist?
Yes. So I think that the idea for me was when we're coming up as musicians, it was hard to sometimes get places to rehearse, or sometimes you want to record in the studio and things are dragging. And I was like, you know what, why don't I just build something for myself? So it started from me wanting to do it for myself and the music that God has given me, and then extend it to others. Little did I know there was a pandemic, coming. And so it just was like solid for me, where I had to do a lot of ministrations out there, churches that couldn't get you over, having you record. And I had my studio equipment was already there. We had cameras and everything. And so each time, I think I literally did more recording sessions during the pandemic than if I was traveling, being able to, because there were times in a day you were ministering in like 4 places because it's virtual. So it really added a lot. And then when the pandemic settled a little bit, I was like, why not? Let's still keep doing it. And so for me, I still get to do live sessions, interactive sessions online, and just reach out to as many as, God will lay on our hearts to.
Well, congratulations on all of the
Thank you.
hard work you've
Thank
been
you.
doing in ministry. And I'm going to end by asking you, with this evolution of your ministry 6 years in, as far as we see with all a multitude of albums and you're constantly recording, where do you believe God is directing your ministry as we continue to move forward and as you continue to grow your global community?
I believe that God is opening more of the world onto me, and the ministry that He's giving me. I think last year I was just praying and asking God what this year holds for me, and He says, I'm about to open new doors, new places, and the focus is not necessarily to make a name for myself, but also rather share with them what God has deposited inside of me and the word that He's put on my lips. And basically, I think that's what greatly this year holds for me, that there's going to be new territories that God is going to send me to. There's going to be new places, even here in Ghana, and then the outermost part of the world. So, yeah.
Joe,
and like, I get an opportunity to talk to you. It's one of them.
Joe, the pleasure is truly mine. I want to thank you for a few minutes of your time. Thank you for sharing your ministry and a little about your life. Thank you. God bless.
Putting on events in the city of Montreal has always been a risky business. Today, we're going to sit down with the icon, Ricardo Daly, to find out what it takes to make it in this difficult industry. From Run DMC to A Tribe Called Quest to The Roots and Eminem, just to name a few. Let's check out a day in the life of the Maven, Ricky D.
So this is one of the places that I go to get my equipment. The owner, I've known him since 20, 30 years. He's one of the guys, he's good to us and he takes care of us. Gives us the best deals, which you need in this business because, as you know, costs are expensive. Hello? Yes, Elaine. Oh, not bad, not bad. I got started doing concert promotion in 1985, 86, around that time. My good friend, Tvm, who was my next door neighbor, was a DJ. And I was doing parties with him and another guy named Fitz. And became very successful at it. And from there, I made enough money that I decided that I was gonna start doing shows. The tools of the trade in the promotion, here. I got my flyers in there. I got a baseball bat in case I need to put it on somebody's head, because I'm in the world of hip hop, they can get aggressive sometimes.
Hello?
Yeah, I want you to send me Magnum's phone number because I need to speak to him to confirm. Because Peter Jackson don't know nothing about this. He hasn't told anybody this. Now you got me kind of in a trick bag because now you got these guys talking and now they want to get on the bill last minute. This guy doesn't want to pay me no money, sitting up there trying to negotiate with me and tell me all that. This is what's being brought to me right now.
Well, this one was brought to me because that kid already knew. You told me.
You know, they don't come to me unless they go through guys like you. It's an opening artist. His name is and I'm just going through the lineup. You know, when you're doing these smaller hip hop shows, sometimes they can get messy. Guys are, you know, dropping out, dropping in. Some guys want to get put on the bill the last minute. Then there's some guys that are telling you stories, telling you one guy's not showing up when maybe that guy is showing up, but until you get a confirmation from the manager or the artist. And when it comes to booking the opening acts, you know, they need to have credentials. If they don't have any credentials, then how am I going to validate the reason why they're on the stage? What separates them from any other artists, local artists? So there has to be a demarcation line between those who have a fan base and those who don't.
I'm gonna make one of them like call you directly, man. I'm like, yo, this
I order dirt work or Magnum and call me.
Exactly, perfect. Well, I'm gonna try to get that done within the hour.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. The life of a promoter. So tonight I got a guy from Brooklyn, his name is Mano. He's like, not that popular, but he got a little bit of a fan base here in Montreal. There's no one way booking an artist, and like in terms of like how do I choose them? Sometimes I go through management and I do a direct management deal. That means I call the manager. Sometimes I call an agent. An agent is like a middle person who negotiates on behalf of the artist and the talent buyer. So I call them or they call me and I say, okay, well, how much does it cost for that artist? You know, what is the particulars? Sometimes they don't even have a price. It's a bidding process where I gotta bid on the artist. Okay, so I need those 10 VIP tickets back, meet and greets. You have them?
Yeah, I have them.
Yeah, you have to bring them back and put them in the system so that way we can sell them online.
Oh, okay. I thought they were like, I thought they actually passed the amount of number we could sell for the meet and greet.
No, your 10 tickets are in there.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Cool. I'll see you tomorrow, 10:30, okay?
Yeah, perfect. 10:30 tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye. I just finished getting off the phone with my other promoter partner from another show. I'm doing a show called TI, and which is next week on January the 29th. That's a big show that we're doing at the Olympia. And we sold out our meet and greets, so, but he had 10 tickets. So then we weren't really sold out because we were 10 tickets short from being sold out. Bought some stuff from the grocery store for the artist tonight, for Mano. I have to, you know, I'm contractually obligated to do this. And if I don't do this, then they have the right not to perform. Sometimes these guys even ask for like things like T-shirts. They'll ask for running shoes. I don't usually give them those. They put those on there to see if they can catch, you know, an inexperienced producer who's gonna go and buy that for them. Imagine them asking you for a pair of Air Force Ones. I've had Red Man ask me that and Method Man before. And I called the manager up and I said, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm known as the hip hop guy. You know, back then hip hop was a lot more difficult. It was sometimes quite difficult to book these people. It wasn't easy at all. It's gotten easier throughout the years as the music's become more and more popular, whereas at that time, it was basically an underground movement. It still has a lot of the underground movement with it, but, you know, as you can see, the Drakes of the world have opened up those doors and beyond.
I don't know what's going on. I see equipment.
Whose equipment is that? Oh, I went and I got CDJs and... What's up, buddy?
Wow, yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll use yours. I don't care.
I didn't know. I wouldn't have gotten equipment.
We have 900s here. We have 900s here. They're just not. They're not good.
Okay. Well, I have that, and I got a mixer, and I got the mics. So already, as you see, didn't know they already had turntables in the place. So I just went and spent a whole bunch of money, rented equipment when they have. So they have new equipment. Do you think they would have informed me? No, they didn't. Like, what's this equipment being there? A lot of times when people enter into this business, they come in with the expectation that they're going to make all of these contacts. And they start to solicit managers and artists for numbers and emails, and they start doing that, which is a no-no. So if they want to come in, first thing is do the work that nobody else wants to do, so that way when it's time for you to shine, you know what it takes to get there. Okay? Everybody wants an express elevator to the top, but nobody wants to put the work in. Hey, Nate? How you doing, Nate?
Good. Right on, bro.
This is my partner here, Nate, from Ottawa, who I'm producing the show with.
Yeah, we got Mano from New York coming tonight. It's going to be a crazy night, lots of stuff going on, so it's going to be very, very good.
So right now we're just going over the budget, seeing what the profit or loss is. So we're just calculating all our revenue that came in and to see where we're at. I do my research and I check into how popular the artist is. And then that's the artistic side. And then I look at the business side. Can I hit that point of recouping my investment or my partner's investment once I reach a certain point, which is called the break even, which in my business is like the end of all. You know, every concert producer lives and dies by the break even. And that leads me to the other part. A part of it's also gut feeling. Am I comfortable with this artist? Do I think that I can bring this artist success in this market? Sometimes I do them and they fail in terms of the marriage. There's usually a marriage between the music and the business. So, but when they both hit together in perfect harmony, then you have a successful event.
Okay, so we got 1975 plus. It's not looking good. This is what really hit us right here. I mean, to break even at least.
Ricky's a hard worker. Me and him have done a lot in the past, and he's for some people he's hard to work with, but when you get to know him, he can become your best friend. So
if you get 1,000 from here, then you're up to $29.75. So your loss would be $300.
We're about even. About the door could bring that above. It could bring it not above. So it's. I don't
know if we'll do over $1,500 in tickets at the door. We might not. How I'm able to calculate the break even is, I take varying factors like, expenses, ticket price, and then I calculate, and that gives me a per person. And from that per person, I look at how many people you need to have in the room in order to make this event work on all levels. So once the business side is done, then it's up to the artist. Sometimes I've had shows that were sold out, but the artist was terrible, which is not good either, because what ends up happening, the next time they want to come to the city, they're not going to have as great of a response as if they had an amazing show. Sometimes I've had shows where there was hardly anybody in the room, but they were like some of the most amazing shows you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, wow, if more people were in this room. But sometimes these artists, like for example, the Fugees, when I did the Fugees, they didn't have a great attendance at first. But Wycliffe and Lauren and Pras, they turned it up. And that got out into the streets. And the next time I brought them, we brought them to the Metropolis with the Roots and Goody Mob. Goody Mob couldn't get across the border, so they ended up not coming, and Destiny's Child came. And it was pretty wicked. Okay, so that's where we're at. You got that right now.
You got that all
We're
right
gonna
now.
go downstairs and we're gonna pay the owner
Okay, perfect.
for stuff. I'm gonna pay him in front of you, so you see it go down.
Perfect, awesome.
So that we have a verification. Yeah, so we just had one, and we're waiting for the other guys to roll in through. Now there's an update on the schedule. Skrilla's not coming.
okay.
Magnum's not coming.
Yeah,
Magnum's not. coming?
No, our Magnum's not in the city for some reason.
Yeah, I was stuck to go to town last
Yeah.
minute, so
So we lost 2 of our open and support
So
acts.
we should maybe open the doors a bit later. Or start the show a bit later.
That's fine.
yeah.
So Frost gets his dream come true. It'll be just before the opening act.
Was there what? Was there a negotiation between Frost and Magnum? There was a battle?
I guess. We always pay our bills because it's to keep the business alive. If we're going to cancel that show or that, it's not good for the industry. It's not good for the confidence of the people. It's not good for opening acts like King Stephen and them to come up here and have an opportunity to perform in front of people. I'll tell you. You know, not everybody has the stomach to put their money out. If you want to be like me and put the money basically out of your pocket, you know, you have to have what I call a Teflon stomach. You got to be able to stomach the possibility of you losing money. And if you don't have that stomach for it, then don't do it. But if you do, then it opens up the possibilities of you becoming very successful. But you have to be disciplined. It's about 8:45 in the evening. Doors open at 9. You know, I basically did my job for tonight. I have a stage manager who's going to be handling the acts. The acts are all here. They sound checked. And now we just wait for the people to start to come. So I did my job. I'm going home. Because unfortunately, the life of an independent promoter means you have 2 jobs. So I have another job that I have to attend to in the morning. So I got to go home and get my rest.
Artists in the music when it comes to producing their music and developing their brand. Today, there are companies such as High Season Co., which help to facilitate this process. And today, guys, we get to sit down with the maven, Tiffany Alexis, who is the co-founder and managing partner at High Season Co.
John has an emergency, so he won't be able to make that show tomorrow.
Oh, the show with him?
It's a personal emergency. So the only thing that sucks is that they already paid us.
So what was the agreement?
Well, because if we cancel, then it's 100% refund. If they cancel, then you get to keep 50%. High Season Co. is a artist management and digital creative agency. So we handle digital marketing for various clients, and we manage 5 artists. I didn't listen to John's song yesterday. I saw he sent it.
Oh yeah, I sent it by text or Renda.
What do you think of it?
I really liked it.
So he wants to run with this
That's
first?
his next single.
That's the next single.
I actually knew she would be here.
So I just met with Craig now. One of our artists sent us a new song that they have that they recorded last night, just really rough on their computer so we could get a feel of the sound, and it sounds incredible. So we were just scheduling for him to come in and record it at our home studio. We think that this is going to be the next single coming from his project, which we're really excited about. So that sounds very good. I also had to cancel a scheduled appearance for one of my artists as well due to an emergency. So this happens from time to time, so I have to be extremely apologetic for it. Generally, we're very good at making sure that scheduling is fantastic, but some things are out of our control. So I just have to call the school where he was set to perform and do his appearance and just let them know something came up out of our control and actually refund the balance, because we do like to get paid before, just to make sure nothing goes wrong, which is what a lot of artists weren't doing. They get paid after and they have to chase money. I don't think that's I know you need to give people an option to watch it. I think it's really important for artists to be able to make money from the music that they're making as well. So what we do, and something that we focus on a lot to make sure that they can work a little less and be more creative, is find like revenue generating opportunities. So licensing is a very big thing that we focus on. And again, we work with a licensor in Minnesota who helps get music placed, or artist music placed on TV shows or movies, podcasts, things of that sort. We also have a producer, and we got him, there's a really well-known marketer, Gary Vaynerchuk. We got his music out on there to make sure that we could, on his daily Vaynerchuk show, to make sure that more people can be exposed to the music, which results in sales, because they see like Notion's beats, like music provided by Notion. They end up reaching out to us and asking to get the music, and yeah, helps with sales.
Hello, my friends. What's going on?
Some rap videos.
Oh yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, yeah, chilling.
What's up?
Oh, hello, sir.
How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Hi.
Dad, you guys found parking okay?
Sort of. Yeah.
All right, so what are we looking at? What are we gonna do?
Okay, let's.
What do you let us know what you're thinking?
Yeah, maybe let's just. I got like sort of 9 main points I want to hit.
Yeah.
I want to use this divider, like maybe you're both back to back on opposite sides of it.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Doing your.
So how would you shoot that? Like just front end?
Yeah. Then inside the fridge with the last craft beers.
Yep.
Then past the beer. And
yeah,
then
across the thing. Yep.
So we just went through the shot list with Rich, so we know everything and what we're doing for the entire video. So now we're just gonna set up every scene and go throughout the house from top to bottom just to make it easier. The video is gonna be very interesting. We're shooting day and night, so C, the first artist, is doing all the daytime shots, and then Richard is gonna film Notion and all the evening shots. So it should be very fun.
Right. Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, I don't know, it'll be up to you, Rich. Like, if they're sleeping in the same, like,
At different
same
times,
room,
though,
at
right?
different times,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Pretty nice.
And then upstairs, if we want to do that, like, a billiard scene.
Yes. Oh yeah, we totally can have some balls.
So I like there's like matching couches too, so even if you want
Yeah,
to film
we'll
at the
do
same
that.
time, you
Yeah,
guys can film.
for sure.
It's like
Yeah.
we're trying to do separate ways, and there's legit like duplicates of everything.
That's what I love about.
So my core responsibilities at High Season are I do a lot of the client stuff, so content scheduling. I do meet with the clients. We're of course selling our services to clients, so I'm trying to bring in lead generation. With regard to the artist management, I'm sort of like because I sort of have the lengthy, or I guess the most experience in the music industry, I would say I'm more sort of like an advisor, and I sort of, I like the networking. I like, I've got a great relationship with the licensing guy in Minnesota who's become a friend, and like I'm kind of that side, whereas Tiffany's the one who sort of makes the hard decisions.
Like it's and then directly.
You're a good stylist.
So it's just That shirt actually that Craig has on is from one of our sponsors, Vitali. So I just wanted to make sure that it looks clean and crisp in the video. So I was just rolling it down because he put his jacket on over the shirt, which we discussed. He still did it anyway, and it got some lint on it. So I was just cleaning it up to make sure it stayed fresh, you know? And I was just checking that him and Notion both had the accessories that they have from the brand.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Action. Got it. Perfect.
To make an impact on an artist's lives, I would like to think that that's immediately felt. I would hope that because we take a burden off of their shoulders, they're able to be more creative and they feel that immediately. And not to say that they don't have to work and they're not going to work extremely hard. They still have to work very, very hard. So I feel like they're at ease knowing that they have someone there who's going to make sure everything, crossing all the T's and dotting the I's for them. I have 6 accounts logged in here on Instagram, but I also have the record label logged in on this phone. So I'm just taking pictures here that I'm uploading to my account and also uploading to the record label's account. This is just for marketing purposes. I just want the followers here to see what's going on. So I'm just filming the guys in the background and getting some good shots just so people can get an idea of what's going on.
Tiffany is incredible to work with, and there's something that she has that people are drawn to. Like, she's a boss. She walks in the room and people know that she's there. Like, we always tell people, you know, we have a vision board. We actually have a vision wall at home, and a key part of hers is Oprah. Like, she wants to be that type of, you know, a powerful, strong, intelligent, successful, accomplished woman, and she will be that. And I've had people, like, she just smells like success, or something one of my friends said to me, and I thought, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Everything looks great so far. So this was the first run through of the verses, and having the 2 guys on each side, and they look amazing. It looks really, really cool. I can see the vision that Rich has, and he's bringing kind of all of our vision to life. So very, very happy. So we're just going to move upstairs and continue with the next scene, which is going to be Craig waking up, or C waking up and getting started for the day.
So I'm thinking, like, say, like, one of us, like, climbs, like, coming in, like, if we're getting up, like, I wake up on the bottom, say, and I get up, whatever, and then at the end, when it's dark, Brad's climbing up here and goes, right.
I think having an artist manager with you can benefit you in many ways. We can leverage our connects that we have in the industry to provide you with more exposure. I think we're also beneficial because we can keep you on track. It's really easy to get distracted or really easy to just get caught up in the music.
Scooch to your left. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Action.
I think having the business acumen side of music is really, really important. And it's very important to ensure artists don't get taken advantage of. And I feel like artist management is there to make sure that artists don't get taken advantage of. You can sign really shady contracts and, you know, get really bad deals if you don't have someone who's not perhaps like clouded by like the passion or just the creative side of it. If you have someone who's like, I'm looking strictly in business for your business interests and looking at it as a career and not just the creative side, I think we're better at making more educated decisions for artists and making sure that they have the best possible outcome for their careers. If someone is interested in managing artists, I would definitely say study the music industry, understand where the opportunities are to make money for your artist. This is very important because if you're able to to exploit your artist talents to make money for them, as in through licensing or through booking shows, then your artists can take more time to be creative, which I think in the end is the goal for every artist. They don't want to have to work full time anymore. They want to be able to live a life they love off of their talent. And I think that's what we're striving to do. So we just finished C's scenes, which is great. So we're really happy with the way they turned out. We finished with the pool scene, and the guys did really well. An 8-minute game, which would have generally taken me like 25 minutes to do. So it's fantastic. So right now we're going to just wrap up just the smallest scene now for C, and then head out with the Notion scene. So the sun's gonna set, and we're gonna start taking part of his scenes now. So just a little break time now in between.
Wraps up.
Right now, C is just gonna lay down a track from his upcoming album called Relentless. He has a producer in Toronto, and basically they're just going back and forth and giving each other notes on the song. So we just need to come here and lay down the most recent version of it, and he'll send that off to the producer in Toronto to get some feedback.
Ay, staying woke like I don't sleep, dedicated like I won't cheat, forever ready like I hold heat, never dipping like I so cheap, closed and packed up in cold leaf. Man, we trying to make rap great again.
As an artist, so High Season has really helped me focus on my craft again. So as an independent artist these days, you can't just be an artist. Like, that's not a thing. You can't just do the one thing, because it just, in this DIY world, you're not going to survive. You also need a break from that sometimes, and you need to focus on your craft. And what High Season has allowed me to do is focus on my craft again and really be an artist. And to me, it's super important that we get to give that the energy that it deserves. And it's one of the things, it's sort of funny, because it is the reason you do all this stuff, and then the other stuff becomes so, like, it drags you down to the point where you just ignoring the craft. And I've heard that from so many friends in the game, like, they're all like stressed about it, like, because people don't always have the team support that we have.
For an artist to be successful today, I would highly recommend diversifying your skill set. So being like DIY, I think, should be like the religion in a way. Like, it's one thing to make the music, but if you can make the music, you can record it and mix it and master it, and maybe you can even do your cover photo for it, you're gonna face a lot less barriers than someone who has to wait on a bunch of people or doesn't have the money in order to get certain things done.
That sounds good. You feel good? Yeah. I like it. Sounds great.
He'll let me know if that's we got enough that.
Yeah.
Wants to change it or whatever, but yeah.
I love it.
All right, so it's 5:50. We just finished at the home studio so that C could do a really quick recording and get that sent off to the producer. The day's not over. We're headed back to the set to finish up Notion's part of the video. So with that all being said, we should probably wrap around 1 a.m. hopefully. Hopefully. Most likely 2 a.m. And then that wraps up a full 3 days and 4 music videos in 3 days. And then Notion and Mike, the production assistant, head back to Toronto tonight. So they're probably not getting home till like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. But yeah, that's the day. That's the life.
Bash.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure finally meeting you.
Here I am.
Promoter extraordinaire, musical producer extraordinaire. You've worked with the likes of Regina Bell, Roberta Flack, James Brown, Luther Vandross, and the list goes on. And you're a Canadian from Montreal. Oh, what do you mean?
Well,
I'm joking.
he had a crush on her.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
All right.
at that day, back in the day.
Okay.
And we had a piano at the house, so he would come by to court my sister, and he would sometimes play the piano. Of course, you know, that was his tool to win over the whole household.
Okay.
And then I would say to him, as a youngster, I'd say, "Can I sing with you?" And he would say, "What do you want to sing?" And I'd say, "Sure, anything. Play the blues and B flat, you know."
Okay.
And he would play something, and I would sing. Of course, I didn't have a real good voice to sing, but he wasn't going to say no. You know, he had to win me over too, as a brother of my sister, who he was really working on. So that was just something I mentioned since he got so big and whatever. I tell my friends, even my friends, and say, "Oh, you know, back in the day, I sang with Oscar Peterson."
Now, what year was this around?
Oh, I couldn't really tell you. I really
that far back.
That far back, I couldn't really. It has to be. I would have to say that would be a good 60, 70 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're revealing your age, Merv.
Well, I don't care. It is what it is.
How old are you, Merv? You look good. How old are you?
I'm 86.
Now, I want you to bring us back to your neighborhood. Describe us how St. Henry was. What was the make of St. Henry back then?
Well, when I lived in St. Henry, actually, there were just about 3 black families that we knew. There were the Rockheads on Convent. We were on LaPorte.
Okay.
The S's on Agnes, and the Beards on what was that? Irene Street.
Okay.
And there was a park there, and that's what it is. I went to St. Thomas Aquinas School, which was on Convent Street.
Talk to us about the makeup of Little Burgundy, because you also were part of Union United Church, the Negro Community Center.
Yeah.
Tell us about the makeup of Little Burgundy.
Well, we had a little community that was there. We had our weekly dances.
Okay.
We had dances at the Negro Community Center, and we had dances at the UNIA.
Okay.
From the community.
Okay.
Of all, you know, the black kids and whatever, where we would go out on a Saturday.
Okay.
And they'd play records most of the time. And we'd have our little girlfriends and come and dance and whatever. And that was, you know, what we did on the Saturday night or something like that, you know. And it was free, no cost. We went and we all danced and did what we had to do.
What was minimum wage back then?
Oh, I don't know, 25 cents an hour or something like that.
Couldn't get me working for that much.
Well, listen, you could have French fries, Coke, and something else for a quarter.
Wow.
I know my father used to send me to the store to buy him cigarettes that cost 37 cents.
Come on, Merv.
That's right. And I better bring home that, he'd give me 2 quarters, and I better bring home that 13 cents. Don't drop a penny and forget about it. You pick up you bring back 13 cents. Now, when I had my kids and I sent them to the store to buy some, I got to give them a tip.
Yeah.
It's changed now. But back in my father's day, you bring that back. And then we had different things.
Okay.
Go to the corner. Then nobody asked me about my age when I bought him cigarettes.
Okay.
Nobody asked me about my age when you go a quarter beer, being a big old beer. Go get me a quarter beer. Okay, Dad. Boom. Go and give me.
You were a kid doing this.
I was a kid doing it. Okay. Nobody said, "Where's your ID?" There was no such thing as ID.
Okay.
You know, you just see how things grow, and again how they changed. You know.
But I want you to take us back to your father working on the railroad.
Yes.
Because back then, working on the railroad was very important to black men, right?
Well, they knew you could go right there and get a job.
Yes.
There was no problem to go to if you wanted to work and you were a black man, you went right to the railroad and you got a job.
So were black people able to get other jobs other than the railroad?
No, not really. Not until the later years. Well, one of the things that they found with a lot of American people who came here, musicians and porters that stayed in Canada, Montreal, they did not have a social prejudice.
Okay.
They were accepted by the whites and, you know, French Canadians and what.
Why is that? Why?
I don't know why. They were readily accepted.
Okay.
But economically, there was the prejudice. They couldn't get those jobs.
Okay.
But they could go into various families. They liked, there was a social. And don't forget, Jackie Robinson and these people grew up here to be where they came from, which started in there in Quebec and things like that.
So there was a social prejudice in the U.S.
Oh, yes. Like in my father's day, when he would go and walk on the street in certain cities and states, when he traveled, he would tell us the stories.
Okay.
He'd have somebody walking on the sidewalk. He had to get off the sidewalk and walk on the street and let them walk by if there were, a few white men and stuff like that. Because at that time, the Ku Klux Klan was very active back there in the day. So you had to be careful about all of that stuff. Well, that didn't exist here.
Okay.
You were accepted socially.
In Quebec.
But economically was the problem.
Okay. I want you to take us to when Little Burgundy became the hot spot for urban music. How did that become? Why was Burgundy so hot? Why were so many musicians coming in and out of Little Burgundy and playing in Little Burgundy?
Well, it had to do with about 3 or 4 of us invaders that were there.
Okay.
There was Rockhead's Paradise at that time.
Okay.
Who brought in a lot of talent, and it was well sponsored, meaning it was well attended.
Yes.
And it grew. Very big major artists came to Montreal. They used
Give
to
us some
call
names.
it the
Give us
North.
some names.
Duke Ellington.
Wow.
Count Basie. Billy Eckstein. I saw them. They had the Café de l'Est, the Café du Nord, Montmartre. They had all of these people, and they had major shows in the Esquire Show Bar, Bo Diddley, you name them. They all came, and all were supported.
Okay.
I brought James Brown back in the day, 1960 something, might have been a 68 or somewhere around there. I brought him to the Paul Sauvy Arena.
In the East End?
In the East End.
Okay.
And
why not the Bell Center?
Pardon me?
Why not the Montreal Forum? Why couldn't you bring him to the Montreal Forum?
I couldn't.
Why not?
Well, they didn't want because I wasn't the right complexion at that time.
So that time,
I went to rent the Montreal Forum, and they refused me.
Okay.
I had a white friend of mine who went and rented it for me. We became partners.
Okay.
And I brought Isaac Hayes into the Montreal Forum.
What year is this when you brought Isaac Hayes?
Oh my God, you keep asking me about what year it was.
Just say your age, how old were you?
I guess I would have to say I would be about maybe 30.
Okay.
James Brown was very popular here with the French-speaking people.
What, was it because he was playing on TV?
No, it was because he didn't have no lyrics to his songs. So they could understand that. He had a big, powerful band.
Okay.
And if you notice or you listen back to, even in the story, James Brown's first record was Please, Please, Please.
Okay. How'd that go?
Baby, please don't go because you know I love you so. That is the entire lyric of James Brown's first big hit record.
Wow.
And you know it. Baby, please don't go.
And then the rest was...
Because you know I love you so.
Okay.
And fall on the knees and put the cape on him and scream. So the French-speaking people could understand that. So they could identify with that. As opposed to another type of artist might come and sing a heavy-laden song of love or that maybe they couldn't understand. But they could understand James Brown, no problem.
So when you brought James Brown, how old were you around?
I guess I would say I was about 35, and I filled the joint up.
Sold out?
Sold out.
So you made some money?
I did.
That's good.
You want to know when I lost some?
Yeah, let me tell me when you lost some.
I brought Joe Tex in after James Brown.
Okay, no, Joe Tex was hot back then.
Back
right?
in the States, he had a record called Skinny Legs and All.
Okay.
And I figured, well, I'm coming back with Joe Tex. He was, they used to call him Soul Brother number 2.
Okay. Tell us what happened, Merv.
With Joe Tex?
Yeah, tell us what happened.
Well, when there was nobody there. There was nobody there. And not only that, Joe Tex was hooked up to, I think some people in Black Power or whatever.
Okay.
They were very rough on me, too.
Okay, who's they? You say they were rough.
His gang, his posse. He had a posse.
Okay.
You know, you didn't do enough advertising. It blamed me for everything.
Yeah, they didn't spend enough
money.
On a different market.
Because they were mad because there wasn't a lot of people.
Okay.
Well, they were used to having a lot of people. Because, don't forget, in America, which is one of the reasons where I left, because I could do much better.
Yes.
Because, you know, when I'm in America dealing music, I'm working to about 60, 70 million black people,
Yeah, a lot
which is
easier.
more than twice the population of Canada.
Wow.
So they can understand what I'm doing. Here, where the population is dense, it's not as heavy. Then the black artists, unless some people follow them closely,
okay,
are not going to get the attendance
So
like
before,
they should do.
so you opened up your own club. Was that before you left for America, or you left for America first?
No, I opened up my own club before I left.
So let's talk about you opening up your club. Talk to us about your club.
Well, I wanted a club.
Okay.
I worked also on the railroad, saved my money, and since I couldn't sing or whatever it is, I said, well, I want to get involved in the music industry,
Okay.
so I'll have a club.
Tell the people the name of your club.
The name, Merv Soul City.
There you go. Let them know. Let them know.
Oh, I let them know. Well, what had happened, I tried to get a license for the club.
Okay.
I had Reverend S.
Okay.
At that time give me a...
He was a reverend at Union United back then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I had my principal from the school.
Okay.
I had pretty good references
Okay.
to go to City Hall and the various places to get a license. I had all of the things that I wanted and the address and whatnot. And I was refused. A month later, it was another club that the Italian gangsters had gotten.
Yes.
So they knew I wanted to get there, so they decided that they would rent me the downstairs because they had the license.
Okay.
I said, okay. And the rent was exorbitant back in the day. I had to pay $750 a week to have the club.
Yeah.
I took it on. And I was successful with it because I would go to New York and Philadelphia, and I would get these red hot bands and some from the Esquires. So my club was always filled.
So you going to New York?
No, people thought that I was making a lot of money.
Okay.
But if I generated about maybe $1,000 a week,
okay,
I had to give up about $750 to the rent. You know what I mean? So it was very active, and I had it for 3 years. But then I got tired of paying the big rent and working very hard and seeing the small money. So I said, I got to get out of here and go to America. So finally, when my lease was up, I didn't mind. I left, you know, because the city was turning around with regard to music.
And why you talk to us about that?
Then it became Topless now came into the situation.
So how did Topless become popular in Montreal? Why was it such a major factor in Montreal?
Topless became Topless because they wanted to see tits. That's why it came
I
popular.
know that, but why was it the end of the live clubs, the live big bands?
Because the guys would go into Topless clubs.
Okay.
To look and examine the women.
Okay.
You know, they would say to me, Mervyn, why don't you go topless? I said, no, I'm not going topless. That's not entertainment to me. You know, I've never went to I never was for that, or going to a girly bar.
Okay. So how old were you when the Topless clubs started penetrating to the market?
I guess I was close to, I guess I was my 35, 36, 7, 38.
Okay, so you're still young, still had energy.
Yeah.
And then that's when you decided, after your lease was up, to go to the U.S.
Yes, I decided that it wasn't happening the way. I still had my love for music.
Yes. Let's talk about the U.S., about you going to
When
the U.S.
I went to the U.S., my first job was with Stax Records.
Now, to let people know, Stax Records was the biggest record label after Motown.
Yes, it was a big black label. That's
Okay.
where I met Isaac Hayes.
Okay.
Everybody on that label was talented.
Okay.
And I was a special projects manager there, which is, I didn't really have much to do but go to record stores and examine to see if their product was on display.
Okay, so now, explain to us how they set you up with the car.
Oh, they set me up right away. I got a Cadillac. Right?
Cadillac. So you rolling with a Cadillac now.
I had
You
a
left
Cadillac.
Montreal, you in the Cadillac now.
Yeah, I got a Cadillac.
You blowing it up right
Yeah,
now.
as soon as I got there, they said, "Hey, go get the car. Go rent a car."
Okay.
I said, "Whatever." And they emphasized, "Get a Cadillac."
Okay.
But eventually, then one day, I had gotten a call, and it was Roberta Flack on the phone.
Wow. Now, let people know who Roberta Flack was and how big she was at that time.
She was an international superstar.
Okay.
I was knocked out when she called me. I could hear that voice that I've heard on records, you know.
Okay.
She had a big song, Killing Me Softly.
Wow.
Sold about 2 or 3 million singles at that time.
Okay.
And she called me and she said, I've heard good things about you. And I would like for you to join my team. And she said, when can you come? I'd like to meet you. And I said, yesterday. She said, well, you call this number, these are my accountants, and they will arrange for your transportation and so on and so forth. Well, I got off the phone with her and I called her accountants. They told me, we'll get me the ticket and so on and so forth and blah, 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 blah. So I got on, I got the ticket, went to the airport, I flew in. And it was the very first time when I landed in Kennedy Airport, I saw this sign that said Mervyn Dash, and it was a limo driver.
Wow.
And I had never been in a limo before. You know, I was in Montreal, and I said, my God, what is going on here?
How old are you at this time?
I guess I was now about 40.
Okay.
Early 40.
So you're still young, still got energy.
I said, I still have energy now.
Oh, yeah?
Watch yourself.
All right.
Yeah. So I saw this limo. I said, my God, what is this? You're Mervyn Dash? Yes. I'm instructed to take you to this loft, Mr. Roberta Flack loft. And where's your bags and so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I said, wow. So he took me to the loft. I went into the loft. I saw a big baby grand piano.
Okay.
And I saw plaques, so many plaques, best of this and killing it. I said, oh my God, this is it.
You were in awe.
I said, yeah, I'm there. So I said, geez, I'm managing an international superstar. This is something. They won't believe me back home about this. So she finally called me, and she said to me, I want you to go to William Morris.
Okay.
And introduce yourself to the agent. William Morris is my agent. Let them know who you are and what about.
So William Morris is a talent agency in the U.S.
William Morris is the biggest agency in the world.
Okay.
They are 32nd floor on Park Avenue or something like that, if I remember. So I went there to William Morris and I met this guy, Andy Klein. I'll never forget his name, and that's a lot of years ago. I said, I'm Mervyn Dash. I'm Roberta Flack's new manager, and I'm here to introduce myself. So any kind of concerts or events that you have for her,
you go through me.
You can come through me. Okay. I'm there.
Okay.
And I got a call.
Okay.
From the agency. Mervyn, hi, how you doing? I have a date for Roberta, and it's $12,500. And we want her to go to sing the national anthem at the Kentucky Derby. And that's just the gratuities.
Okay.
I said to myself, whoa, you will have first class accommodation and travel for you and her.
This is big money back then.
Yes, at that time. So I said, gee whiz, I'm going to go and I'm going to be able to watch the Kentucky Derby. My God, this is really the thing. Called my friends back here in Montreal. I said, man, I'm going to go to the Kentucky Derby, blah, blah, blah. So about 3 or 4 days before the event, or before we were ready to go, she called me and she said, I want you to scratch that Kentucky Derby.
But she agreed to do it?
Yes. I said, why? What's the matter? Are you sick? No, I don't think I want to be bothered. I said, yeah, but Roberta, everything is in motion for this. Can you do it? William Morris, they're out there. They're expecting you. They're doing advertising. You just tell them I don't want to do it. I can't do it. So I said, well, what the heck am I going to tell them? Tell them that I was riding in a cab and the cab had an accident and I wrenched my neck and I can't sing.
She told you to say this?
Yes. And that's what I said. Then when I went up to William Morris, I said, we can't do it. So they cursed me out. Said, how you mean? Why you tell us so late? What are you? Then they apologized to me after because now we got to get somebody to replace her. And we said, you're at the 11th hour. How come you didn't? I said, this only happened recently. Yeah, we know it happened. Seems like that was what they were used to.
Okay.
So that was one incident. Another incident was when we went to the time you're talking about when I almost got killed.
Yeah, tell us about that time.
Well, there's an item before that.
The phone call.
The phone call that I got from Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
Called
Elizabeth,
you.
the actress. No, she didn't call me. Her assistant called me first.
Okay.
And she said, hello, I'm so-and-so.
Now, this time Elizabeth Taylor is major.
Biggest artist, biggest actress in the world.
Wow.
Biggest beautiful thing. She said, I'm calling for Elizabeth Taylor. She's getting married to this politician whose name was Warner something. Mm-hmm. He's still around, this politician. And she said, you know, Roberta Flack is one of Elizabeth's favorite singers.
Okay.
And she would like her to sing at this wedding. I think the song was First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. She wanted her to sing that.
Okay.
And we would supply first-class transportation and accommodations. And my next question was, is there any...
payola? You're going to pay?
You know. She said, no, this is whatever it is, and blah, blah, blah. So I sat and I studied it for a while, and I said to myself, this is good. I'll be happy to get there. So I said to Roberta, I said, look, this is a big event, first-class transportation and accommodation. She said, what's the compensation? I said, there's no compensation. She said, there's no compensation? There's no Roberta. I said, Roberta, you got to do it. This is the biggest actress in the world. You never know, she might get your music in a movie. You know me, I'll try and solicit something. I'll get something going. I'll even try to get us in a movie. Come on, you got to do this. No money, no honey. She would not move. I said, my God, what am I going to do? Anyway, I got a call again from the assistant.
Okay.
I said to her, well, we're unable to do this due to the fact that we have a contract with another promoter that is less than 120 miles away from the venue, and we are forbidden to do any appearances.
So you're lying again for her?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get out of this. She's saying, no, I'm trying to get out gracefully. So she said, okay, blah, 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 we're looking. Meanwhile, the guy she's marrying is a senator, big-time guy. She calls me again, third time. You do not have to worry about any contracts that you have. We have it all arranged. There will be no lawsuits. There will be nothing. If you perform over there, you can. So don't worry. Feel free to come and see what you got to do.
Okay.
I said, okay, I'll see what I can do. I went back to Roberta, tried to convince. No, I'm not doing it. Stop bothering me. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm at home now, and the phone rings. Boop. Said, hi, Murphy. I said, hello. This is Elizabeth.
Wow.
I say to myself, damn it. This is the voice that I hear and been watching on the movies and this and Cleopatra. I said, hi. I'm sweating. And I ain't doing nothing but sitting down. My hands are sweating. My face is sweating. I said, yes, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for all that you're doing. And we look forward to seeing you at the thing. Is everything okay with blah, blah, blah? I said, yes, everything is fine.
Lying through your teeth.
I said, yeah, everything is fine. We look forward to seeing you there. Good, I can't wait. I'm very anxious to meet you. I don't know what was prompting me to say all of this stuff when the girl is telling me no, but I couldn't say no to this Elizabeth Taylor.
Okay.
So finally I said to myself, I got to clear this up. And it hit me, you know, like you see in a comic book where a light bulb goes over your head. I called her up.
Call who up?
Elizabeth Taylor.
Okay.
I didn't get her. I got her assistant. I said, hi, this is Mervyn. They now knew me. Half a dozen calls from the assistant and one from Elizabeth, just one from Elizabeth. I said, I got some bad news for you.
Lying through your
I
teeth
would like
again.
to, I don't, you know, could I speak to Elizabeth? She said, no, Elizabeth is on location in some place out in Africa, somewhere.
Okay.
On location doing a movie. I said, oh, she said, what is it? I said, Roberta was in a car accident. She was in a taxi, had an accident, and she wrenched her neck and hurt her arm. So unfortunately, we would not be able to perform. And then I said to myself, I was giving myself kudos because I said, she had given me that excuse for the Kentucky Derby, and I didn't think of nothing else. And of course, I had to say the arm because she would play the piano and accompany herself and whatever. We're very sorry to hear that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. Whew. Elizabeth is on location. She obviously got the vacation, got the mess. I'm out of hot water. It's all cleared up. I figure it's all over. About a few days later, I met, because I used to work at the Dakota, which was a big loft that Roberta had there, and she had her office in the back, and that's where I worked.
Okay.
And the doorbell rang. The guy came in, knocked on the door, and there was a wreath of flowers about this big, like you would have on a funeral box.
Okay.
All these flowers, I don't cost $300-400. And I said, gee whiz, look at this. Then I picked up the card, and it said, "Get well, much love, Elizabeth."
Wow.
Written on the card. So I said, by now this time Roberta's coming. Oh, that's pretty. Where'd that come from? I started to say a fan, but as I got ready to, I got nervousness, the card dropped from my hand and it fell on the floor. And she picked it up, she read it. She said, how did this come about? I said, well, I told her that you had an accident in the cab and you weren't able to do it. Oh, good work, Murphy. Good thinking. I said, oh, well, good. So now everybody's happy. She got the flowers. I'm off the hook. I still wanted to go and do that. But that was one of the things in dealing with Roberta that was difficult. We went to Abu Dhabi, the Middle East.
Okay.
And at that time, they had a lot of money. They had the oil money.
Okay.
They had Cadillacs on the chrome. Where it was chrome, was gold.
Wow.
Or copper, whatever. It looked like gold. You know, sand and whatever. They hired Roberta to go there. And we went there, and it was like one of the strangest situations that I've ever been in, because...
Strange and scariest.
So they said, we would like to have her perform in Kuwait. What would that cost? I said, that'll be $50,000. They said we wanted her to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well, that's big money, $50,000 back then.
And they said, no problem, just like that.
50,000 American.
Yeah, oh, it was American. I said, well, that would be 50,000 per night. No problem.
Wow.
I said, and there will also be a 10% for the agent, which was me.
Okay.
They sent the money to her bank, gave them the information, 150. They sent 15,000 to my bank. Then, about a day later, because we were there, whatever, Roberta said, you know what? I said, what? She said, I don't think I can do this, Kuwait. I said, what? She said, no, I don't think I can do this. I said, why? What's the problem? Throat? You got a problem? She said, you know, to tell you the truth, I miss Morgan.
Who's Morgan?
A little dog, about that big. I said, you're serious? I said, don't you know what I went through with these people, prayed with them, this and that, and got all the money? To hell with Morgan. We deal with Morgan when we get back to New York. No, I gotta miss him. I gotta get back.
Wow.
I said to myself, well, I know what I gotta do.
What'd you do, Merv?
Well, I got myself home in my home room and I packed my bag.
Okay.
I went to the airport. The guy take me to the airport. Went to the airport. It was about a 16-hour flight from Abu Dhabi to New York.
Left her there?
When I left her there, I went to the bank and I sent the money back to these guys.
That's nice.
Sent my money back and gave them a notice that due to some excuse that I made, we weren't able to do this concert, and thanks for everything, and blah, blah, blah. And when I got back to New York, she called me after she got, you deserter, you left me, or whatever. She called me, whatever. You deserted me, you left me. I said, listen, let me tell you what you can do for me. You can kiss my ass.
No, you did. You didn't tell her that.
I quit her.
Come on, Merv.
Yeah.
You told her that?
I told her that. They said to me, you quit managing an international superstar? I said, yes, I quit. My father used to tell me, nobody rides your back unless you bend over and let him on. And I said, I'm bending over and she's riding the shit on me and I quit. What are you gonna do? I don't know. I don't know yet, but I ain't going back there.
What's the most memorable moment in your career?
Well, I would have to say the most memorable moment would be winning the Grammys.
Okay.
You know, because that's a highlight. I played for Mandela. That was another. I met him. Was able to meet him.
Who played for him when you met Mandela? Who was the artist?
Regina.
Okay, Regina. Okay.
Yeah, I traveled a lot with Roberta. I traveled more across the world with Roberta than with Regina.
What's the most important thing that you learned in the music business?
I learned that it's a lonely place up there for an artist.
Why is that?
Because they're all alone. And it's very difficult. They have to me, I would recommend that they have good family ties.
Okay.
They're religious, spiritual, they believe in God.
Okay.
Because they need all of that. And that's not only with regard to artists, to me it's regard to those athletes that make a ton of money and don't know what to do with it. You know?
Buy friends, that's what they do.
Yeah, they don't know. They've lived in poverty for so long. Overnight, they're very wealthy. They don't know what to do. And you have the guy waiting around the corner. And you know what he's got in his bag?
What's he got?
The drugs.
So you saw drugs kill a lot of
He's
careers.
got the drugs. And the drugs put you in that other place. Euphoria. You're there. It takes away all of the pressure.
For people who want to get into the music business, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, they have to be very passionate about it.
Okay.
They can't just think of it as a whim.
Okay.
They have to believe this is really what I want to do, and I'm going to do it.
Okay.
They have to believe in themselves. They have to get away from the near-seers, get away from that.
Okay.
Because there's going to be always somebody who's going to say, you can't do that. It's too complicated. It's too this, it's too that. But mainly you have to believe in yourself.
Okay.
And go upstream with it, no matter what. Because the strongest thing is if you believe in yourself, you go ahead and do it. And if you will find in history and anything of anybody who's become successful at stuff, they also believed in themselves. So once you believe in yourself, that's it. Don't be bothering what, I want to know, what do you think? What do you think? No, it's what you think. And you have the passion for it, and you believe in it, you do it. Well, you know about Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
Wrote about 3,000 songs.
Wow.
You haven't heard 3,000 songs from him. You may know about 24 hits from the 3,000 he wrote. So what does that tell you? He never stopped writing. And I met him, we had a good conversation, and he would say to me, the song, he was very clever, genius. He said, the song is always there. You just have to find it. And I didn't understand what he meant until he came with, I just called to say I love you. Big hit. Everyday saying.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of other thoughts. Apple don't fall far from the tree. Russell. They pick up the sayings. God don't like ugly. They pick up the sayings, they turn it into a song. It becomes a hit. But we'd say that phrase is right in front of you all of the time. The answer is written in the wind. You know, those type of things. They make great songs. And that's what Stevie used to talk to me about. And I would say, gee whiz, how come I can't think of something to pass on to one of my artists that's right there in front of my face?
Yeah.
But you just have to think hard and study hard. But somebody's got it. Somebody's got a saying or a phrase that is universal.
Okay.
That all they need to do is put it into a song and they're going to the bank.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it from the man himself, the legend, Mervyn Dash. He's YFL, Young for Life. Thank you. All the best.
My pleasure.
Ça va, Robou? Quoi de neuf?
Super, et toi?
Bah écoute,
Depuis la dernière fois.
sympa, c'est un moment. Hein.
Ouais, ça fait un moment, hein, bah... Content, hein, il fait beau, on est à Montréal, la petite ruelle tranquille.
On se balade. Bon, écoute, aujourd'hui on va parler de toi. Robou, producteur franco-montréalais.
Ouais,
pour ceux qui ne le connaissent pas encore. Tu t'es mis à faire de la techno il y a déjà un petit moment de ça. Tu as sorti des sons récemment.
Ouais, je produis dans mon coin, maintenant je sors des sons. J'en ai sorti il y a quelques mois et là j'en sors un sur le label Keep the Needle de Spencer Zabiela.